Say hello. Say good morning. This is like trying to coax my little puppy out of bed early in the morning when she doesn't feel like she really wants to get up and out of bed. There we go. Now we got a couple of you here. Well, good morning, and welcome to the latest edition of Geezers Galore. Oh, wait a minute. No, not Geezers Galore. The Art of Fire. So, we don't have the children with us today, but we're here anyway. So you've seen me and Foster do this before, and today we'd also like to welcome Patrick Foley. Now, he's probably not quite in the geezer status of me and Foster. We could have called this Graybeards Galore, but Foster's beard isn't gray, and I don't have one. So, geezers galore. So anyway, we're getting ready for the Maryland Renaissance Fair to open up. That'll be the weekend of August 28th and 29th, and it'll run for 9 weeks. You can buy tickets online by going to the website, and we'll have all of that information linked up on our web pages, and you can search for it. We're at artoffire.com. If you want to call us, 301-253-6642. So good morning, Bridget and Barbara and Renee and Tracy. Glad to have you all with us. So let's see, what are we going to do today? Well, actually, we're kind of winging it. It's going to be a work in progress, okay? Foster and I will come up with something, hopefully, to entertain and amuse you. But first, let's get the important business out of the way. This beautiful little bowl here was given away as last week's prize, and the winner is Ann Cation Holman. She's the winner of this. And next week's prize is this beautiful little purple mug, and I'm proud to say I did that one last week. So we're giving away one of my pieces this time around. So there's a little purple mug. If you make comments, then you get entered in the drawing. And there's a whole stack of mugs back there that were made in anticipation of the Renaissance Fair. All right, so I don't know how much or any of this you're actually going to make today, but we've got quite a few of our pieces on display. We've got vases, we'll have pictures. All of this will be at the Renaissance Fair. I made this big bowl right here. This is an encalmo technique with 3 colors in it. I believe Todd made this beautiful Marini bowl here. We've got what we call our confetti pattern, where we have an opaque color and then put some multicolor frit with it. Todd made this beautiful base last week. You can see the crackle finish where the red starts to come through the white that's on the outside. There's a little ornament right up above it that's the same type of design element. We'll have dragons for sure at the Ren Fair, and fish, and we'll have jellyfish, and we'll have all kinds of mugs, lots of stuff for you, and hundreds and hundreds of various ornaments, okay? And don't forget, should you choose, you can purchase a gift certificate and give the gift of glass to someone and let them pick out what it is. So, let's go on down here and find out what our other geezers are up to today. What's up, Foster?
Hey, how are you folks this morning? Nice to have you with us. We look forward to having a fun time with you all today. Patrick has been kind enough to come on out and give an extra set of hands, and this is sort of trial by fire, no pun intended, but Patrick's been around the studio for quite a few years now. He helped us out at the Maryland Renaissance Festival, and today he's going to help. I'm going to start out by making a mug or two, and he's going to help with the transfer, and he'll also help putting a handle onto the mugs. This is something that will be new and different for him, and we'll have a great time educating him, and we hope that you'll have a good time inviting Patrick into your video feed. And so that said, my pipe is ready to go.
Let's roll.
I'm good to go.
All right. And thank you very much for coming in today, Patrick, and helping us out. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure. If I had known I'd been on camera, I would have worn my date specs.
Okay, very good. All right. So some of you may remember when it was Foster and me alone in the studio once before. No, you didn't miss Bruce saying that Todd and Josh aren't here today. They're not skulking around somewhere. They're simply not here. And that's what I alluded to when I said the children are not in the studio today. So Patrick graciously volunteered to come over and help out. And so I'll be doing some of the camera work. I'll maybe make a piece or two later. Foster's going to make some pieces. And we're really going to put Patrick on the spot because he's going to have to do some things that he probably hasn't done before. But we won't. He'll get through it just fine. Let's see. Barbara suggested defining the Renaissance Fair, and that's a good idea. Renaissance fairs are popular all over the country, and I would well imagine there are some international, though I'm not familiar with that. But the Renaissance Fair, they feature all kinds of performers, and there's entertainment, there's jousting, there's clowns, there's jesters. There's the court, of course, there's a king and a queen, and you can roam the grounds at leisure and find all kinds of things to get in trouble. Plenty of adult beverages if you want to grease your hands up. There's turkey legs. I'm sure there's funnel cakes, all kinds of stuff. Of course, yes, maypole dancing. Yep. So for us, the main attraction, or one of the favorite things, is, of course, the glassblowing demonstrations. And you can catch us there. Actually, you won't catch me there. You probably won't, because for 21 years, I've been holding the studio open while they go to the Renaissance Fair. It's not punishment, it's just helping out. But Patrick has actually been there helping out on site for the last several years. Okay, so Foster's gathered up a piece of white color, and he's rolling it on the marver, and now he's going to trap the air in the pipe, and the air has nowhere to go but out into that white glass. And that's going to bulge it out just a little there, and that's the indication to the glass blower that he's got some air in the pipe.
And hot glass moves and cold glass don't.
Yep.
So that glass must have been hot because it was moving.
There you go. I wouldn't steer you wrong.
Can you stay right there, ma'am? Behind the line in the floor?
Okay, yeah. We've got a visitor in the studio. Yep. And that's fine. We are starting to open up for business and stuff, but we also want to make sure that people stay safe. So while Foster is gathering the glass, which you all have seen before, welcome to the Art of Fire. How you all doing? We're doing a live stream presentation. I'm just going to put this little rope up here, and that's mainly just to keep you guys safe and away from where the business end of the studio is. So welcome aboard. Enjoy yourselves. Okay, so Foster's back at the bench right now, and he's got a cherry wood block. It's a wooden cup attached to a handle. We use that to shape the glass. So right now he's shaping the glass. It's going to give a little bit of a skin, if you will, to the outside, stabilize it, and it's also going to give it a nice symmetrical shape. The shape and the symmetry, in addition to the size of the glass, are very important at this stage. We don't want to exceed the ideal ratios of length to diameter. It makes the piece much harder to work. So these cups, these wooden blocks as we call them, shape the glass and let us get a nice rounded shape and also a good ratio of length to diameter. Lets us blow the glass out. Foster's going to let that cool for just a couple of moments, and then he'll go for another gather. So we have to cool let this cool rather, because if we were to gather immediately, we would shrink the bubble that's on the inside. The intense heat of the 2,000-degree molten glass would simply cause the bubble he's carefully put in to collapse. So now he'll take another gather. If you see after he gathers, if he raises his hands up high, he's letting the glass strip off back into the furnace. There he's level, and he didn't need to strip any off. He got just the perfect amount. Joanna, we're going for a confetti mug. There's a white core to this, and then the multicolored frit is on the marver. Foster's letting the glass lengthen. We call that air marvering. And now he's going to gather glass frit on about the lower third of his vessel. So this frit will not extend the entire length of the piece. He'll melt that in, and then he'll come back. You hate it when bubbles shrink. Yep, that's the way it goes, David. Okay, so he'll probably run through the frit once more to pick up just a little more color on that. And after he comes back for another reheat, we'll take you down to the display area, because we actually do have a confetti piece down there on display, and you'll get an idea of how this is going to go. Alrighty, so that's actually it for the frit. The it frit. Okay, he's going to use his block now to give it that symmetrical shape again. And just like in the movie Jaws, he's going to need a bigger block. Okay, so there he goes, rolling the iron on the bench, keeping the symmetry right there, and then he'll blow and trap air again, and we'll see that white core grow. Okay, so while he does that, let's go show you what the confetti pieces look like. So there's a picture right over here. It's got a lapis or dark blue background on it, but you can see the multiple colors of frit on it, okay? So Foster is making a confetti mug. So what he'll be doing is the background of white will actually help the multicolor frit show up even better. So right now what he's doing is explaining to Patrick the next steps, and he's going to blow this out in a few minutes, and he's going to start cutting the jack line. Most all of our pieces are created by having a sphere with a jack line or constriction near the blowpipe, okay? And the purpose of that is so we can separate it from the blowpipe, because nobody wants a mug that's got a 4.5-foot piece of steel attached to it. So I'm not sure if you're picking up what's going on in the conversation over there, but Foster is now explaining to Patrick what it is he's going to want him to do. Now, we're not going to be asking Patrick to make the glass, but he will be taking reheats on the glass, and he'll also be helping Foster out when it comes time to do the putty transfer and place the handle on the piece. So this should be exciting. And you can see Patrick is intently paying attention to every word coming out of Foster's mouth. Okay. Foster will get that hot in the glory hole, then he'll bring it back to the bench. He's going to need a larger diameter on this, and he's also going to need to cut the jack line. When we make these pieces, especially if we're going to take the sphere and elongate it, now he's going to cool the bottom of the piece by rolling it on the marver. That cooling keeps it from moving when he blows it out, because we all know that hot glass moves, cold glass don't. So now when he blows, the bulk of the expansion is going to take place in the middle and up toward the blowing iron. The rest of it stayed a little bit tighter because it was cold and didn't move. He'll keep going with this. So back to the business of a sphere with a jack line. How does that turn into a mug or a vase, you may ask? So glad you asked. So we take that sphere and we elongate it by either just hanging it down or spinning it around with centrifugal force. He's cooling the bottom again, and he'll blow it out some more, and he'll also be cutting the jack line. He'll cut the jack line first because the area near the pipe cools off more quickly. So you can see him making the constriction. That's the point where we will intentionally break this mug free of the blowing iron. He's going to use the wet newspaper to chill the bottom rather than come back to the marver. And that chills it in advance of going into the glory hole. So you can see he's got the whole piece in the glory hole. Not only is the whole thing getting hot, it's getting hot all the way around. The top, the bottom, the whole thing. So if he doesn't want that bottom to blow out, he needed to cool it ahead of time. And that's why he used the newspaper and why sometimes he uses the marver. Once he gets this done, He'll inflate it a little bit, and then we'll work on elongating the sphere into a cylinder and making sure that the jack line is cut. A little bit of elongation. See how he's doing that nice and easy. He's not in a hurry. It goes with a slow motion and lets the glass extend gradually. If he used too much force, it would get too long too quickly. And we've all done that, wound up with about a 16-inch piece of glass on the end of the pipe that we can't do anything with because it's not an effective tumbler or mug anymore. He's also going to increase the diameter of this a little bit because every time you elongate it, you lose a little bit of the diameter. So he's chilling it on the bottom so that doesn't expand excessively. And now he's just going to blow into it, and that's what we call free blowing. Notice the diameter increasing. Yeah, it was a slow spin, David. Okay. And that's really pretty important because a glass blower needs to gauge the heat and the force that he's using to make sure that the glass doesn't run away from him. He doesn't mind if small children run away from him, but he hates it when the glass runs away from him. All right, so he's got all of it in there heating up again. Among the steps, he'll probably, well, good morning, Sharon. A little more elongation, nice smooth move. And while there's still heat in it, he's going to chill the bottom and blow it out for a little bit more diameter. By using the metal blades of the jacks, he can, no free range glass, that's right, David. He's using the back of the jacks to flatten the bottom. That's the place the punty will attach. So we work the lower half to 2/3 of the vessel first, and then we complete the top, okay? So what he'll do now is he's going to hand this off to Patrick. And Patrick's going to give what are called flash heats. So he's going to keep it turning so it stays centered, and he's going to put it in there for about 4 to 6 seconds or so, every 10 seconds or so. This is going to keep it hot. So Patrick puts it in, he keeps it turning, and as he keeps it turning, it stays centered, and he pulls it back, okay? Now he's going to take it over to the bench, and it's going to sit on the rails. The pipe will sit on the rails down toward the end where the stops are, and Foster's going to bring this punty iron over and attach it to the bottom of the piece. Patrick will turn until Foster makes contact or tells him to stop. By having it turn, it's easier to spot the center. Yes, you can see the colors quite nicely against the white background, Kristen. All right, a little drop of water into the jack line, a tap on the pipe, and the piece comes free. A beautiful transfer. So we've got the lower half of this vessel made. Foster now will heat the upper part. Now that was cold enough to crack or fracture under control. So what he's going to want to do now is heat the top of the vessel, and that way he'll be able to open up. Because unless you've got a soda straw right now, you can't drink out of this thing. I don't think, are we going to sell mugs with soda straws at the fair, Foster? No. Okay. No mugs with soda straws, so now we got to open it up. Okay? All righty. Nice to have you with us, Amity. Okay, so Foster now is concentrating on heating the upper portion of the mug, and he'll use his jack blades to open that up. Now, if the break off, when he had to transfer from the blowing iron to the putty, if that break off is a little jagged, the glass will be hot enough that he can use the hinge of the jacks simply to flatten it. Or if it were too thick, he could cut some off if he so chooses. Yes, we can make glass straws to go with them. Great suggestion, Renee. We'll make 1 or 2 for the fair and see if they sell. I'm getting no reaction here from the boss, so I know that didn't go over real well. There he goes. The hinge of the jacks on the back. and then he'll begin to open it up. Now, if it doesn't move as much as he wants, he simply goes back and reheats. Okay, so now we can see that. You're going to use the steam cone or just open with the jacks?
Let's use the steam cone.
Okay, that gives me a perfect opportunity to introduce our audience to the steam cone. There you go. It's a cone made of wood, soaked in water. Guess what it's going to make when he sticks it in the hot glass? Steam. All righty. So, Foster will heat the upper portion of the vessel. The steam cone's in this further bucket, Foster.
Okay, thank you.
He's chilling the lip of the vessel just a little bit. He'll grab the steam cone and put it in. Now let's watch the shoulders of the mug. You can see it inflate. You can't see anything happening from the inside because of the opaque color, but you can tell the steam is pushing the glass outward. And this is a really nice way to get the thing opened up for starters. He'll use the jack blades to open it up a little bit. He uses the newspaper to cool a portion of it. And now we've got a really nice look at how the white gives such a beautiful background to the multicolored fringe. So when you use the steam cone on that, it kind of pushed the lip in just a little bit. And just as you would taking fingers into a pottery piece and opening it up, Foster will take the surrogate fingers in the form of the jack blades and open it up a bit. And again, it takes a little while to get it hot enough to manipulate. So he's going to swing it. That's going to give it a little bit of extra length. And now what he'll do is open it up to get it to the point that he's got it just the right diameter at the top. It is kind of hot here today, Joanna. Not as bad as it's been the last few weeks. The outside temperature is in the upper 80s right now, I believe. Okay, so now we're going to indoctrinate Patrick into the glass blowing world again. His job is going to be to push the glass all the way into the glory hole for about 5 or 6 seconds and pull it all the way back. This is going to keep it warm. Foster is going to gather the glass for the handle of the mug. So every once in a while, Patrick puts it in there for a little extra heat, and he'll do another one probably because Foster needs one more gather. Does humidity affect glass blowing? Yes, Kristen, it does significantly because it makes the glass blowers miserable. It really doesn't have much effect on the glass itself. But when it's humid in here, it really gets us. Now, he's going to keep this turning toward himself. Foster's going to place the glass for the handle onto the body. As soon as he cuts it, Patrick will flip the piece 180 degrees, and he's probably going to put that black spot up so Foster can place the handle there. Okay. There he goes, right onto that spot to cover it. Now, as soon as Foster snips, Patrick turns. Straight down. Foster gets the alignment from here. He'll direct Patrick if he wants it turned any. He pulls it a little and cuts for some fresh glass. And now his tweezers will attach the handle to the body. And he's got the carbon bar now. And he's going to roll the handle up onto the piece. Okay, I got the mic. Foster now is manipulating the handle. Now he'll use that carbon bar to both. Whoa! He'll use that carbon bar to pick the piece up. Okay, so it came off of the putty. It happens. All righty.
Well, it hit my leg.
Hit your leg with the putty iron. Okay. So now he's using the iron to hold the piece in position. You want to put it away?
Yeah, let me grab my glove.
Here, I got a glove.
Got a glove? Here.
I got
Okay.
it.
All right.
You want to grab the door? Okay, so I'm going to take a glove hand and take this floor model and put this baby down in the annealer, and away we go. Okay, so there you go. Oh, that's right. Yep. My favorite Homer Simpson quote. Okay, all righty. So there you see what sometimes happens, and in his defense, Foster's working at a different location here. He's down at this bench that's further down in the shop, and so it may seem like it should be about the same, but really the dynamics are different when you move around. So this glory hole is in a different position from the bench as to where he works. If you take a look at this right now, there's this bench here, and then directly across and over to the left a little bit is the glory hole, all right? So that's one path, that's the path you have to take. But when Foster has been doing this for 40 some odd years, he's over here at this bench normally, okay? And now he's got a different path to the glory hole. And every once in a while, one of us will wind up standing in his way or something like that. So not only does it complicate things if you work in a new studio and the equipment is different within the same studio that you've spent your life just moving to a different bench or using different tools. Here's a really interesting thing about the different tools. Let me see if I can grab this block out of Foster's bucket. Foster uses his blocks in one direction, okay? You see how that is, there's more wood on the one side than the other? That's from a couple of years of moving the glass in the pattern that Foster does, and not nearly as much on the back side. So, let's go down and see what the block is like that I use or Josh uses. Same size cup. And it's got more wood on the outside, but this is a little more symmetrical in there. And when I work at Foster's bench, I quite often wind up torquing the glass because I'm not used to the shape of the block. So all the tools make a difference. But anyway, let's get back to the fun stuff. And it was an amazing save. It was really great. Sometimes when a piece comes off like that, it doesn't break. It's got enough heat in it that it survives. Now the handle's a little misshapen, but it's still functional and it will survive the annealing process. So once again, I'd like to mention that the winner of this beautiful little bowl from last week is Ann Cation Holman, and the bowl is hers. The prize for next week is this pretty little purple mug here. And we've got a lot of other pieces on display. As you can see, we spent a good bit of time making some mugs and bowls and different things for getting ready for the Renaissance Fair. We've got cats. There'll be cats, vases, big bowls, little bowls, and we have the stemless wine glasses. We have the goblets with stems, pitchers galore, vases, dragons, fish, and jellyfish. Oh my! And we'll have tons of ornaments on display. So don't forget, you can also order a gift certificate if you like to get a piece of glass for one of your friends or family. And that way they can pick it out and you don't have to. So again, about the Renaissance Fair, it'll be opening the weekend of August 28th and 29th. And it'll be running for 9 weeks. Tickets available online at their website. And it's a really great time. People from all over come and just enjoy the day out there. Lots of folks in costume, lots of different activity for folks of all ages. So, Foster's over here explaining a little bit more to Patrick if you came in late. We banned the children from the shop today. Josh and Todd are not here. And so it's just geezers galore. Foster and Patrick and me. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's next?
We're going to try a picture this time.
We're gonna
a pitcher
a pitcher.
with a spout and a
Okay.
handle.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're gonna be a little teapot.
Yes.
I got the short and stout covered. Okay, you can do the handle and the spout. No, I'm tall and stout. Or maybe I'm tall and drink some stout. Ah, now we're talking.
There you go.
Can we make a pitcher that would serve in place of a growler? Oh my!
That.
All right, yeah, the three amigos.
Okay.
There's a really good joke about old guys that can't hear. Foster and I are definitely in that category.
Say what?
Yeah, so there's three old guys sitting on a park bench. One of them says, "Sure is windy out here." And the second one says, "Wednesday? I thought it was Thursday." But the third one says, "Thirsty? Hell yes, let's go get a beer." All right. So Foster's got, what color you have on the end of the iron, Foster?
We've got the dusty rose color, purple color.
Okay, all right. An opal?
color.
Okay. Are you going to use the confetti look again?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Yeah. And then we'll go ahead and use an optic mold this time to put ribs into the piece of glass.
Do you want any help with the spout?
I was working it out with
Okay.
with Patrick.
Cool. Putting him on the spot.
Trial by fire.
Okay.
Please watch this do that. a couple of times.
Hello, Joy McGeegan. Glad to have you with us. Yeah, Tom, the beer's sounding better and better as we go along.
So,
Okay.
in the UK, the ones that are up in, what, Yorkshire?
We have Yorkshire and we have Joanna from London.
Right. So who's in Yorkshire?
Tommy.
Is Tommy with us?
Yeah, Tommy's with us, and I think Steve.
Do you guys know the Uredale glass in the North Yorkshire, in Yorkshire Dales? Do you know what did I call the place? Yeah, that's Tim and Maureen who run the glass studio, the Uredale glass studio.
Oh, okay.
In North Yorkshire. Do they know of him?
They'll answer us in a minute.
There you go. So, if they know of him, you can. I went to school with Tim back in 1980 and 81, 40 years ago.
How about that? Well, they must have really let you start young. 40 years ago, you don't look a day over 48. They let 8-year-olds in the glass class?
Those would be the carry-in boys in the industry. Okay, so we have the opalescent purple glass. Sometimes I like to refer to it as a dusty rose-colored glass, which is, by the way, made from an oxide of manganese.
All right, so Foster's let that cool off a little bit. He'll take the first gather out of the furnace, and the furnace holds 400 to 450 pounds of molten glass. He's going to take a gather and cover that up. It's not going to be this final size of the pitcher. We do this in stages. Though he might be able to get all the glass he needed at one time, it would be so very hot and uncontrollable, it would be very difficult to make the piece. So he'll gradually let the size of this increase. He'll use the cherry wood block again to shape it. It'll give it a little more uniform shape, and will also chill the outside of the glass just a little bit. After he gets that shaped as he wants, Tom knows one not far from Blackpool in Lancashire. He drove past it 2 days ago, not seeing the one in North Yorkshire yet. That's Tom Dunn. Okay, so he's trapped the air in the blowpipe again just to expand the bubble inside the color, and he'll let this cool again and then once again gather. All right, so it's cooled off a bit.
Yeah, so you can see the bubble's been expanded slightly into the first gather or wrap of glass, and we're ready for our second gather now.
Okay. So what he'll do now is get enough glass to finish the piece. Plus, as he mentioned, he's going to be going into the optic mold with this for a design element. So he's going to pick up the glass. He's going to get the frit on the lower half of the vessel, just like he did with the mug. And then he'll work on the other design element, which will be the optic mold, and then elongating the piece. So here he goes. This angle right here with his hands down and the glass on the edge, you can actually see how it pushed the glass off of the blowing iron. Glass that's on the blowing iron is unusable for the piece. It just does you no good. So you might as well get some glass off of there. You'll notice too, we'll try to get a little bit of a close-up without getting too hot. See, there's very little glass back there at the pipe. The pipe is that dark part, where that orange bulge starts is the glass. Okay, so he'll get his frit on there, and then what he'll do is begin to shape this, maybe put a little more air into it, and then we'll do the optic molding. So we referred to optic molds. Some people call them dip molds, and this aluminum one right here is the one he's going to go into. And so it's an optic or dip mold because it gives the decorative elements to the glass. Use of the block again to keep the shape uniform, give him that kind of rounded Q-tip shape, if you will, and now a little more air into it. We'll see the central core grow. And then he'll get this very, very hot and drop it into the optic mold. Optic molds or dip molds only provide the decorative element. We do have molds that are used to shape the finished product or very nearly shape it to completion. If you've watched Foster make his stemless wine glasses, he has a mold that gives him probably 75 or 80% of the finished object just blowing in the mold. This is a decorative portion right here. It's just going to give us the decorative ridges on the glass. It'll still be up to the glass blower to create the shape. We get it extremely hot, drop it in the mold and let it settle down. Then he's going to blow, trap the air, and the expansion of the glass into those ridges is what will give us, there we are, there's the ridges. Good morning, Patricia. Welcome aboard. Okay, so now he's got the decorative elements to this. It's time to get himself into a position of where he has a spherical shape with a jack line in it. And he's going to let the sphere elongate a little bit because the pitcher is a much taller vessel. So he's chilling the bottom using the metal table, the marver. Now when he comes back to the bench and uses the jacks, he'll be able to squeeze the constriction. And notice he's just past the edge of the blowing iron. Again, that helps conserve some glass and make sure he's got usable material. And this also will take a couple of steps. He's going to reheat a few times, and each time he'll probably come back. He'll mix a little bit of blowing with a little bit of cutting the jack line. Yeah, I agree with you guys. It really is a beautiful piece. That purplish rose color is really beautiful. So let's watch and see where Foster goes with this. A little bit of elongation and some chilling, which is a good indicator that he's probably going to blow at some point in the process. And there he is. Now, this is what we call free blowing. When you don't trap the air, you just hold the pipe up to your mouth and blow into the blowing iron. And that gives us a little bit of inflation. Yes, Courtney, we do have a website where you can buy pieces. Not only can you buy anything that's in our catalog online, you can buy the demonstration pieces if you so choose. It's theartoffire.com, and if you contact us there, there'll be links on how to purchase. Now, you can see he spun it out for elongation. Now, as he blows in a horizontal posture, notice that the bottom is expanding. That's going to be the typical shape of a pitcher. Yeah, David, around here, free blow takes the place of free bird. Okay, so we probably reinforce the jack line a little bit. Gosh, I love it when I can predict the future. He's going to blow out a little bit more, get a beautiful shape on that, and now he's going to flatten the bottom. And this, yeah, we just teach a basic class, absolutely. Roseanne, yep, and we'll be starting back into that real soon. In fact, I think we've got a couple people signed up for a couple lessons as is. So now Foster's explaining to Patrick what he wants him to do with this piece now. And what he's going to do for Foster is keep it turning and occasionally put it in the heat for about 5 seconds or so. Then he'll pull it all the way back out of the heat, continuing to turn it and going back for another 5 seconds or so. And now he's going to take it to the bench while Foster shapes the punty. Patrick will lay it across the bench rails, put it up against the stops, and turn the pipe. He's going to keep that turning till Foster makes contact with the putty iron. Foster will guide the putty onto the bottom, and then he'll make sure that it stays in the center. Now, Foster's turning both irons. You can see that Patrick's let go completely. This is so Foster can set up the centering. A little drop of water right into that jack line, and off it comes. The pipe goes into the bucket, and now we've done a successful transfer. So now what we've got to do here is heat the top and form the top of a pitcher. So for those of you that may have joined us late, as I've said a couple times, we sent the children home today. Josh and Todd are not here. This is a geezer celebration. So we have enlisted Patrick Foley, who's been very helpful at the Art of Fire for a number of years. And those of you that have been to the Renaissance Fair have undoubtedly seen Patrick out there helping out, because it gets very, very busy. Okay? So he's explaining now to Patrick the many steps he's going to have to do to help Foster do the spout on the pitcher and the handle. This is going to be even more complex than the handle you just saw Patrick assist him with on the mug. At any rate, he's heating the top of the vessel. He's going to open it up and make it wide enough, and then we'll put a spout in it. Well, we're sorry to see you go, Roseanne. You can always catch us on a replay. I'm sure there's going to be more stupid jokes and lots of fun had here today. But thank you for stopping in and joining us. We appreciate that very much. Remember to comment, folks. That's what gets you entered in the drawing for the giveaway pieces. And we've got a pretty little purple mug to give away for next week. And so anyway, Foster is now heating the upper part of that vessel. He'll bring it back to the bench. If the lip is a little crooked, okay, he's going to elongate it just a little bit. So he got some heat in it, and with a nice gentle turn, he elongates it some. Now he'll be able to flatten the lip if need be, but it looks really good. He's opening the piece with the jacks. You want your paper pegs?
No, I'm going to be fine. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so he's about halfway there in the opening process. So he'll take another reheat or two, get this opened up to the diameter he wants, and then they'll go about putting on the spout. So the spout's kind of really interesting the way it goes on. Patrick's going to have a pair of jacks in his hand. Foster will grab a carbon bar. Foster will use the carbon bar to press up gently on the lip of the vessel. And when he asks for it, Patrick will use the jacks to surround the glass that's on the carbon bar and gently press it together, as if he's enclosing the carbon bar. And that's what's going to give Foster the spout he wants. So we still need a little more opening here. Now, once the throat of this vessel is open to the point he wants, Foster will go ahead and flare the lip as much as he needs. And he may even flare the lip a little bit beyond what he really wants. He's explaining to Patrick how he's going to bring the jacks over and squeeze down around the bar. Well, thank you, Courtney. We really appreciate that. We love the liking and the following, sharing too. And remember to get your comments in there, because that's what will get you in the drawing. So Foster's going to heat the upper part of the vessel, the lip. He's going to go to the bench and pick up the carbon bar. And then after he inserts the carbon bar into the opening and lifts up gently on it, Patrick is going to squeeze around the bar with the jack blades. All right, he's got the carbon bar. He'll pick his spot. He lets Foster insert that. Now he surrounds it and squeezes. Okay, that's it. Hand Foster the jacks, and Foster rounds it out. And there's how we do a spout. Beautiful job, Patrick. Okay, now Foster will be giving this a couple of flashes just to make sure there's plenty of heat in it, and then they'll go for a handle. Now, the tricky part on the handle, particularly for the assistant, is when he brings the pitcher back to the bench, he's got to have the spout pointing straight down. And if he's got the spout pointing straight down, the handle will be attached to the side opposite the spout. So Foster will probably demonstrate that a little bit, and we'll see here. Foster's going to put the spout straight down, and that's how the handle will be attached with it straight down, okay? So now, Foster's going to return to the glory hole, give it a flash, maybe two, and then turn it over to Patrick for more of the same. And again, just like he did before the transfer, and just like with the mug, he'll flash it for about 5-6 seconds or so, take it all the way out of the heat and keep it turning. He's going to do this a couple of times because Foster is taking two gathers. Okay, so he's telling Patrick to walk into the bench, put it on the rails. Foster's going to roll the glass on the marver.
Stand up so that you can look over the edge.
Okay, and Patrick will have that spout pointing straight down. Foster will attach the handle. When he cuts, Patrick will flip the piece over 180 degrees. The handle will be hanging straight down. Now Foster will take the tweezers. He's going to cut it to get a little fresh glass. Take the tweezers and attach it up. And then he's going to use the carbon bar to shape it. Need a door? Okay. See how he's using the carbon bar to shape that handle in a real elegant curve. He's going to put that into the glory hole, give it about 5 or 6 seconds worth of heat. Then he'll bring it back for another shaping of the handle. That glass is still very hot in the handle. He'll still be able to shape it, give it that beautiful curve. And by pulling back away from the pipe, he gives it enough room for your hand to fit in there. And somebody asked about ordering. This piece can be yours. It is definitely for sale. Okay? artoffire.com. Call us at 301-253-6642. And Foster's going to be taking his final flash, and now he's going to knock it off. He'll come over to this box over here, appropriately enough called the knockoff box. He'll use a butter knife to chip around the punty joint. The purpose is not to knock the piece off. It's to chill it so that when he hits it with the hammer handle, it will break free of the punty iron. Yeah, the colors are really striking. You get a really good look at them now backlit from the window. A little tap of the handle. The piece comes right off the punty. He'll put the insulated glove on, and into the annealer it goes. There we go. Beautiful. And Foster, I'm not fully up on all the prices. Somebody's asked, what's the price of this piece?
They're $84.
84. Okay. Excellent. Well, let's hear it for Foster. Let's hear some hand clapping, some thumbs up. Beautiful job. Hey, amazing. And thank you, Patrick. Good job there. Okay. Geezers galore. It's all working out. Yeah. Okay. So let's take a trip back over to the display area.
I'll put up another pipe and
We'll go on to something else. Okay. Okay. So, here are the same colors, but on a clear background in this mug. Okay. So you can really see how those opaque colors cause the transparent on top to really pop. They're beautiful colors. Here's a confetti pitcher, very similar to what you just saw, except instead of the purplish rose color, this one has a deeper blue as the background. And most everything you see here will be on display at the Renaissance Fair. We'll be making more and more of them, and lots over the next few weeks, lots of mugs, lots of pitchers, flasks, ornaments, dragons, oh my goodness, fish and jellyfish, the whole gamut. All right, let's see here, gamut. All right, let's see. This is the giveaway from last week, and this is Ann Cajun Holman won this beautiful piece, and that'll be on the way to you, Ann, unless you decide to come by and pick it up. And this purple mug is the giveaway for next week. So that's it. You get entered in the drawings by commenting. All the names are put into some kind of computer thing that I don't understand at all, and it randomly selects one of you to receive the prize. So that's pretty cool. We also have gift certificates. If you like, order a gift certificate. You can give that to someone. They are usable at the Renaissance Fair, so your friends or family can take them with them and apply that toward the purchase of a piece of glass at the Ren Fair. Okay, and Renaissance Fair is going to start up the weekend of August 28th and 29th. It's going to run for 9 weeks, and you can go to the website for the Maryland Renaissance Fair and purchase tickets in advance. And that's the way to do it, because once the number of tickets for the allowable audience is achieved, they don't let anybody else in. So get online, specify your dates and when you want to go. And let's see, they're talking about what's coming up next. Let's just take a real quick trip down into the gallery, because we may find some things down there that we don't have on the display table you might run into at the fair. And here's a perfect example right here of the hearts. So you saw a lot of ornaments in the background over there, but we also will have quite a few of the hearts. Here's some more of our jellyfish. We have hanging platters, which are always very popular. A variety of colors. Those are always wonderful. And tons of ornaments. And then over here, we have in the gallery a lot more of our pieces. Lots of different colors. These are pretty much grouped by colors, but a variety of shapes in vases, goblets, even perfume bottles. So there's all kinds of things here. And this place will look almost empty when the Renaissance Fair starts because we'll be taking most of it over there. We'll be working really hard on trying to get the stock built up, but we want to make sure there's plenty there for you. Okay.
I'm going to get a couple of gathers of clear glass, come down, we'll pick up the frit off my marvering table, and then go ahead and work it up and have it bench number 3.
Patrick, can I ask you to hold this just 1 second, please? Thank you.
You have an extra belt loop that you can tighten there?
I'm actually going to have to put an extra belt loop in. It's cinched up all the way. I checked this morning and I've lost about 20 pounds. There's many more to go, but I need poke another hole in the belt. All right, Foster's got his first gather of glass. What will we be making, Foster?
We'll be making a vase for this one.
Okay.
And we'll go ahead and twist the frit up, and then we'll go ahead, set the bubble, and we'll go ahead and use the optic mold, and we'll make a ring bottom vase. And the ring bottom means that the base of the piece will go ahead and bring down to a point, but we'll cool the bottom, blow into the pipe, cause it to expand out a bit, that when we use the panel, it will make a wider bottom for the piece to sit on.
Beautiful. Okay, so there he goes with the pressurized air. We call that process a blow and cap. You simply blow in the iron, cap the end of the pipe, and the bubble comes out in the glass. So you'll let that cool just a moment, then you'll take another gather and probably head down to the other marver to pick up the frit. So let's go ahead and wander on down there and wait for him. So now he's taking that next gather. Hello, Jennifer Watkins. Glad to have you with us. All right, he'll take that next gather of glass, and on our YouTube video, which we did right before the Facebook, he used these 2 colors previously, and you can tell kind of what he's going to do based on the layout. The cranberry pink is closest to the edge of the marver. That's going to go on the top of the vessel, the portion that's nearest to the pipe. So he'll stick the pipe over so it hangs over past the cranberry a little bit and get a beautiful line of cranberry color on it. And now, by angling the iron downward and reaching over to the aquamarine, he's able to gather that color there. He can make another trip. Notice how he's placing the iron. He doesn't have the aquamarine resting in the cranberry. And he does the reverse here. He's just covering it up. There'll be a little bit of blending in the colors in the middle, and that gives it a nice, really pretty look. Tapping the end of the gather like that makes sure he gets full coverage on the bottom. So twisted frit as opposed to twisted cistern. All right, so
Twisted cistern?
yeah, so the twisted frit is just a technique where after we've gathered the frit, we turn the iron in one direction on the marver, and the friction between the glass and the tabletop causes that frit to drag. So what were individual dots of color stretch out into lines. It looks like he might be going for a little more. He can go as many times through the frit as he wants. This is what determines our coverage. So he needed to have a little more glass, probably for the size of the vessel. So you get a little more color on this, and then he'll go melt that all in. Okay. I don't know, David Hogan. He might choose Widdershins. I don't know. Sometimes most glass blowers do have a preference as to whether they turn the iron clockwise or. Foster doesn't say widdershins. He says anti-clockwise. But most of us have a preferred way of turning the iron. It just kind of naturally happens. But we need to be able to do both. So we'll see what he does, whether he goes clockwise or widdershins when he twists it. He's going to get into the optic mold and use that to twist. So it's the friction against the optic mold rather than the marver. And he's turning widdershins, or anti-clockwise. And there we go. Now the frit has turned from dots into lines. And there's your decorative element on that. Now, if you watched our video last week, this is very similar to what Todd did on a piece. And after getting these lines, he used a tool with a hook on it to rake the glass. We're not going to do that now. Foster's going to be heating and shaping this and blowing it into the optic mold. So, and when we go, after we go in the optic mold, we have a choice of either twisting those ridges or leaving them straight. And that's purely up to the artist. Or if you happen to order a piece, you can tell us whether you want it twisted or not. We're happy to take requests. Thank you, Michelle. We think these colors are beautiful. The lines are shaping up well. It's going to be a beautiful vase when we get done here. Into the optic mold. He'll blow, trap the air, let it expand out into those metal blades. So these ridges will have a slightly different appearance, not much, but a little bit different appearance than what we get in the other mold. Right now he's chilling the bottom of the piece. That's the outboard tip right there. That will cool it so that when he does blow, it does not expand very much there. When we put the mouthpiece in our mouth and just blow, we call that free blowing. And while he's got plenty of heat in it, he's going to initiate the jack line. The jack line or neckline is a constriction near the blowing iron. Allows us a nice place to break the piece free when we're done with the first part of the creation. By holding the iron horizontal, he gets more of a spherical shape. And so now it'll be a little blowing, a little jack line cutting, and probably some elongation. The whole vessel needs to be hot now. As long as he's going to be working with the glass that's close to the blowing iron, he has to be able to heat the whole thing. Using the jacks to reinforce that neckline. The piece is full of heat. He's going to chill the bottom with the newspaper and now blow once more. When we blow in a horizontal posture, we get more of a spherical shape. It stands to reason. If the pipe were angled downward, the piece would elongate while blowing. If it were pointed upward, it would actually get shorter and fall back toward the pipe some. And that's a popular technique for starting out some bowls. He's going to heat this up. He's probably got close to the diameter he wants, so we'll see him swing it out. A nice gentle arc at first. Notice he pauses, takes a look at it. He's got his eye on the glass to check the length of it. When he starts to get where he wants, he just stops with it. Now he's concentrating the heat in the lower portion of the vessel now. You might be able to see that the pipe is pulled out of the glory hole just a little bit. That means when he swings it out this time, the lower half will elongate. The upper half won't change a whole lot. You can see the orange color, the indicator of the heat, is toward the bottom. And just like he promised, it's getting more pointed at the bottom. Now he's getting a little more vigorous with it. He's stretching that out and a little bit of air. You can really see the variation or the difference in the colors now. The glass has cooled considerably, so we can see the aquamarine and the pink quite well. Now he's chilling the bottom there because he doesn't want it to blow out excessively. But that tapered point, that tip at the bottom, he's going to heat that. And then he's going to blow that out, and it'll look like a bulge in the glass. But after he's created that bulge at the bottom, he'll use the wooden paddle to flatten the glass, and that will give it the profile of the ring bottom he discussed. So the body will taper down to just an inch or two above the bottom, the foot, and then it will expand back out. He's chilling it with the paper so it doesn't go out excessively. And here we come with a bit of a bulge right at the bottom. You can see a sort of indentation just about 4 inches up from the bottom. He's going to take heat and then he's going to push back on it. He's heating the bottom. Once he gets that bottom softened up from the heat, it'll be time to paddle the bottom flat. And we'll see that curved profile take shape. He brings the paddle on at a bit of an angle first to push the glass into the center. And now you can see that the diameter at the very bottom extends a little bit wider than the portion that's about an inch or so above. And that's how we create the ring bottom. He'll hand that off to Patrick, who will now flash it. Patrick is helping us out today for those of you that just joined us. Josh and Todd aren't with us today, but that's okay. We got the geezers in full force here. Okay, so we're going to put that onto the rail. Foster's forming the putty. Foster will go over and place the putty in the center of the bottom. He'll use the tweezers to guide the pipe. Once he gets that centered, Patrick lets go, and Foster turns the whole assembly. This lets him keep the glass centered. Now, a little drop of water right onto that jack line, a tap of the pipe, and it breaks free. You'll notice that the piece is moving around a good bit. The putty joint is still hot, so Foster's keeping it centered. And there's no point in putting the whole thing in there right now since he hasn't centered and he doesn't want the putty to get a lot hotter at this point. Sometimes if we need to move the piece a little bit on the putty, we would actually heat the whole thing and adjust it. But we've got this lined up very well. It's time to heat the top and open the vessel up. So you can see that we've formed the bottom 3/4 of the piece. And now it's time to apply the heat and get the top treated. Scott Farrell says we could take exception to the geezer reference. We should call ourselves well seasoned. I like that.
Yes, we are.
We are well seasoned. Some of us spend a lot of time getting marinated. All right, so he's checking out the tool situation. You saw him glance over toward the bench. He'll be using the jacks and possibly shears if he wants to cut that, or else he'll just flatten the lip. So if the lip's a little thick, you can use a pair of shears, look just like scissors, and cut the glass right off to where it's a nice shape. All right? So that's an important skill to have. Now what he'll do is go flash the whole piece. He wants to keep the temperature well above 1,000 degrees, and he's got his steam cone in position. So that probably indicates he's going to make use of it. All right, so he'll keep the whole piece flashed, but his heat will be concentrated in about the upper 4 to 5 inches of the vessel, because we all know that the hot glass moves and the cold glass don't. So when he puts that cone in there to create the steam, the other key element is heat, and it will be the heat in the upper reaches of this vessel that causes the shoulder area to expand. So let's watch. The area that's glowing right now, the pink color, you can see it expand, getting wider and wider. And then at some point, the steam's done all it will do. And if he wanted more, he could go back for another heat and do it, or he could work toward finishing the vessel. So you see the differentiation between the two colors there. He's going to heat the upper reaches of the vessel. Opening this time, Foster?
Yes.
Okay, so no more steam. He's going to use the jack blades in that opening and create the profile he wants for the top of the base. Yes, it is beautiful. And not only is it beautiful, it could be yours. And with that nice ring bottom, it'll fit beautifully in your home. So give us a shout, 301-253-6642, or online, artofire.com, and say you want the ring bottom vase that Foster made. Or you can call and discuss, and we can custom make one in the colors that you want. Notice how he's pulled the lip out a little bit, and now he's angling his hand toward the floor. This is what flares the base. Now he uses the jack blades to straddle the glass over the top like that, squeezes that line down just a little bit. He'll go back for more heat and do it again if he likes. So we all have our personal preferences when we're creating a shape like this, especially as how tight we want that neckline right up there at the shoulder area. So sometimes we like it to squeeze down a little bit more. We just heat it, put the jacks over the top, straddle the glass and squeeze. If we want to flare it more, we can put the jacks into the opening and change the angle. As long as he's got heat, he can make it move. And it looks like Foster's choice is to squeeze down a little more. There we go. That's a really elegant opening. And by leaning the jack blades out against the lip, he also keeps that nice taper. Beautiful. All right.
There we go.
That is beautiful. That is a great shape. All right. Very elegant.
All right.
And again, folks, it can be yours. Just give us the word, and we'll figure out where you are and how to get it to you.
We'll let Uncle Sam bring it to you.
Uncle Sam will bring it? Okay. Courtesy of the USPS. All right. Again with the butter knife, just for a couple of moments to chill the punty joint. Then when he taps it, the piece will break free from the punty iron, and away it goes into the annealer. And there she goes. Notice he didn't just keep wailing away on that. It wasn't like he was trying to play whack-a-mole, all right? You try to tap the putty gently. If you just get frustrated and knock the living daylights out of it, you're likely to rip the bottom out of the piece. So there we go. Into the annealer it is. All right. So let's talk down here about what we've got, what the future holds, and what's going on. It was fabulous work. Let's hear it for Foster. How about some thumbs up, a few clapping hands? Oh, the hearts are nice too. That's really great. Okay, so the pieces he's made today are available. You can contact us at artoffire.com or at 301-253-6642. We got lots of pieces that we're going to be putting up, making to carry out to the Renaissance Fair site. And we've got lots of ornaments, a variety of styles and shapes. We're going to have dragons. We're going to have jellyfish and fish. We'll have hanging platters. We'll have mugs and pitchers, big bowls, big pieces, little pieces, you name it. And this is our giveaway from last week. And this is going to Ann Cation Holman. And congratulations to Ann for winning that piece. And this little purple mug is the giveaway for next week. So that's what we're going to have on the giveaway front. Here's an interesting piece, a 4-color base. It's got some purple and blue and pink and gold in it. Each panel is joined together and then shaped into the base, picture. So, okay, all right, yeah, I'll make something. You want me to give this over to Patrick? Okay, we're going to turn that over to Patrick now. What do you think?
There we go. That's better.
Okay, all right. It's always fun to try to figure out the camera.
Yes.
Let me get a couple of things set up. Do you want to make a flask or something? Or we can do that. Okay. Yeah, all right. Let's do that.
All right. Okay.
Cool.
You want to do a full-time flash kind of clear or on white or something?
I think maybe I'll just do a simple twisted frit.
Okay.
Twisted frit. I'll use the 142.
Okay, sounds good.
So again, we're making this up as we go along. So Bruce is figuring out what he needs to make a flask. We're able to talk him into doing a demonstration for you.
So you can tell the people that Bruce is changing, making sure that he's got all of his tools in the correct location so that as he's sitting down at his bench, he doesn't really have to look for where his tools are. Okay, so let's do the
I'm going to twist it with the optic.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
So he'll do a twisted flask with the optics. Okay.
And the 142 is a cherry red color, and that. Do you know what oxide is used for red?
I'm not sure in that one. I know Lenny used it like the copper ruby. I'm not exactly sure which one is used in that.
Yeah. So as Bruce was saying, the colors are manufactured in Germany. Or the Czech Republic and imported into this country here. Here, I'll pull down my shears and put yours back up.
Joanna likes the cherry red. So good choice.
It is. It's a great color. Absolutely. So Bruce has got some color to it. We have a putty and we have 2 bit irons. We're going to be making a flask. The only thing I think otherwise that we need to get out is one of the corks to be able to make sure that the opening of the mouth of the flask is of the proper dimension to fit a cork.
Bruce is getting his first gather of glass. Over to the marbling table. Going to get that positioned the way he wants and get some of that grit onto the glass. Going to heat that up, melt that grit into the hot glass. And back to the marble.
So now Bruce is going to go ahead and set the bubble into the glass on the end of the pipe. He held the glass up, or held the pipe up, so that the glass started to come back on itself. So that as he sets the bubble will come out of the end of the pipe, go side to side, and then into the body, the main body of glass on the end of the pipe. So when he goes back to the glory hole to reheat, it puts more heat into the glass to change the viscosity. And as David Hogan always says, hot glass moves and cold glass don't. Isn't that right, David?
David says the fit meister is at work.
That's right. And we all enjoy getting to watch Bruce work, because it's not often that he comes out from behind the camera to share his expertise and longevity with the glass with you folks in our audience.
Into the dip mold.
There he has the ribs. He's going to do a bit of quick reheating, because every time that you touch the glass with a cold tool or optic mold, it steals heat from the glass. He's going to go ahead and twist up in a clockwise orientation, not to be confused with Winter Schnitz.
Peter Schnitzel.
There we go. So you can see those ribs twist as he turned the pipe and kept the pipe in place in one location. to cause the ribs to twist all the way to the bottom. You'll cut that off and then go ahead and reheat once again. Now we're making a flask for this piece while you're watching. Just going to put some more heat into the glass, cool it, shape it, begin to inflate the bubble, and then we're going to use two wooden paddles to flatten the circular shape. Alright, so Bruce also has a blowhose that he's got in his mouth attached to the blowpipe, and as he's working with the glass, he's inflating, blowing into the pipe to cause the glass to expand. He's using his jacks to create a neckline and pull the glass off the edge of the pipe, and then reestablish a neckline for when we take it off the pipe. This will help when we turn the piece around and set the mouth for the cord that gets put into the mouth. Good. So you can see in the glass, where the glass is hot, is the glass that's the furthest away from us. And that's because that's the first into the heat, the last out of the heat. And consequently, that's the glass that moves the most. Go ahead and we'll flatten that up. You'll flatten that up this time.
No, I'm going to change that deck just a little bit.
Okay.
Then we'll flatten.
All right. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, so now we have two wooden paddles. We're going to take this circular shape, and Bruce is going to put the palm of his hand, or maybe not, over the mouthpiece of the pipe. We're going to bring it out, and we're going to go ahead and flatten. That's how you can take a circular shape and make it flat. Now, I'm going to make a putty, and we're going to do the transfers. Okay. You see where that cord is in the first bucket? Oh, there's a bucket. It's in the bucket. Yeah. Okay. So now the transfer process, by and large, always takes two people. One person to make the punny and bring it to the gaffer who's going to attach the punny to the bottom of the piece of glass. Bruce has heated up the mouth. He's going to open up the neck of that just slightly. Okay, he put the. He went ahead and put the. Yeah, he put the cork in, and it needs to be decreased in diameter just a little bit to fit a little bit more securely. So Bruce is heating up the mouth of the piece. Okay.
I'm going to constrict it just a little bit.
Oh, I would.
Further back.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be really harder to try to bring that whole cylinder down in diameter.
Yeah. No.
So, cheat it.
Yep.
Just a little bit.
You got the idea.
Just a little bit back there. The cord stops.
There you go.
We're
Nice.
good.
We're good to go.
All right, hold on 1 second, because I am going to give it just a little bit of flare at the top. I'll give a little flare at the top just because it looks kind of funky like that.
So using the jacks, just the tip, that little bit of flare.
There. Okay.
Good. All right. So now we're going to put the first of the two hooks on. Okay, so he planted the bit of glass onto the flask. He pulled back, cut that off, grabbed the end with the pincers, and made the hook. Use the tips of the pincers to open it up slightly, and he's got the first of the two hooks come off.
Yeah, we'll come off. That's all right. So what we want to do now is make sure we get the glass out of this glory hole. So it took just a little too long, and it experienced what we call a thermal shock, which means that when the glass was reintroduced to the heat, it cracked. Okay, so there's no saving that. Unlike the bug we saw earlier that hit the floor and came out, this one's done. But what we really want to do when that happens is make sure that we don't leave all that glass in the tube, the glory hole, to come in. Actually, this is the glory hole. All right.
Okay, that was a glory
That's
hole.
how we do the flask. You'll see a bunch of them at the Renaissance Fair.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's next, sir?
We'll go ahead and finish the live stream by making a two-color bowl, and we'll use the same colors that we used before, the cranberry pink and the aquamarine color. Okay? Awesome. Very good.
You want release from the camera, or are you
Okay.
good there?
Doesn't matter.
It's up to you.
Doesn't matter. Whatever you like.
How do you like assisting? Good with that?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay.
We'll put Patrick back on the spot. Thank you, Patrick.
Sure.
So, yeah, Joanna, it exploded inside the glory hole. That's what we call a thermal shock. All right, the glass was a little thin. It got a little bit cool. And, yeah, Cindy, it's a bit of a bummer, but really it's not that big a deal. Yeah, that piece is definitely off the hook, David. Yeah, so we'll be making many, many more of them. And anyhow, that's how we do the flasks. And as Foster said, he's going to show you the bowl next. And he's going to do that with the combination of the aquamarine and the cranberry pink. All righty. So at least with seeing the piece before it finally exploded, I hope you noticed the lines in the glass, okay? So the intensity of those lines was created by blowing in the optic mold. So it took several rolls through the very fine frit, the zero frit, and that coated it to where it looked like it had a red background. When you blow into the optic mold, though, it thickens portions of it, and then when those get twisted, that's what created the spiraling lines around. So we'll have more of them. Yeah, Joanna, it does happen from time to time, and more often than not, if we're talking about something or momentarily distracted and don't pay real close attention. But yeah, thermal shock is a thing. In fact, that's a perfect example of why we say we've got to keep this glass at well above 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, because that's the sort of thing that can happen. All right, so here's our display, and like we've said before, we're getting ready for the Renaissance Fair, and that will be opening August 28th and 29th in Crownsville, Maryland. You go to their website and purchase tickets. So the mugs you make, are they okay to hold hot liquid? Negatory, Ghost Rider. We recommend against putting hot liquids in our mugs, okay? Or any of our glassware. It's entirely possible that you could get away with it a time or two, but when you purchase the pieces from us, we give you a warning not to do that, okay? Because, well, let's say you're pouring a cup of tea. We have no idea how hot you make your water or your coffee. And if you reach a point where you could get a thermal shock, then your glass will break. And forewarned is forearmed. Yeah, Sharon, that red and white vase is beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. So we also recommend that you clean your glass in just warm soapy water. Don't use the dishwasher. You might forget and get away with it a time or two. But again, depending on the heat differential, you might wind up with your piece in many pieces. Now, here's something else interesting about the temperatures. You can put the glass in cold. If your favored way of drinking an adult beverage, like a beer, is to have a cold mug, you can actually do that. But you can't be doing the heat thing. Cold liquids work, hot liquids don't. Yeah, there we go. There's a variation on, hot glass moves. So if you heat the glass, it will move and shatter. There we go, David. I knew we would turn that around somehow into hot glass moves. Yes, if you make your glass hot with a cup of tea, it's likely to move.
I'm going to work off of my bench.
You're going to work off of your bench. Okay. All right, so Foster's getting his first gather. He'll be coming back and shaping that up. And since he's making this bowl, I'm going to guess that he'll do 2 gathers on this. Yes, Joanna, ice cream would be great. In fact, ice cream would be really good right about now.
Actually, just leave them open. Okay. Yeah.
Not only would ice cream be good, a root beer float would be great. I think we've got some mugs here that would be perfect for a root beer float.
Yeah.
And I found a perfect ingredient for a root beer float.
What's that?
It's called Not Your First Root Beer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's not just root beer. But it tastes like it. I haven't tried it with ice cream yet. Yeah, Moscow Mule would do it also, Barbara. Okay. Oh, my goodness, Cindy, that's a shame. In case the rest of you didn't see the comment, her mom had a porcelain piece and gave Cindy hot tea in it, and the handle broke off and she was scalded. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, so with anything, yes, it really is, Joanna. It's very good. All righty, so Foster's got his second gather now, and he'll come down here and he'll be picking up the frit. We've got the cranberry pink in front, the aquamarine in the back away from him by angling the iron, holding it a little past the cranberry color. He gathers that color on the upper reaches of the vessel, which is again near the blowpipe. The lower part of the bowl will be at the outboard end, the tip. And that's going to be the aquamarine. He's rolling through that. He'll also turn the pipe pointed downward and cover the end of the glass with a little bit of aquamarine. And being the knowledgeable glass blower that he is, Foster saves that step for the end. Because if he pointed the glass downward when he came fresh from the furnace with the gather to cover the end of the vessel, I'm sure you can imagine what would happen to the glass as he was pointing it straight down toward the marver. The frit, David, in the front is the cranberry 232 is the number. He's going to roll through that again on the upper half of the vessel. And the one behind it, the bottom of the vessel, is an aquamarine. The number the manufacturer puts on that is a 49. And they're both the number 1 size frit. So with the flask that didn't work out, I used a 0 frit because I wanted pretty much solid coverage, and the lines that were twisted in it were a result of the optic molding. What Foster's done previously on the pieces he's demonstrated here is with a thicker frit, the number 1. Notice he's twisting this. These lines are not going to be created from the optic mold. They're being created by twisting the frit against those ridges. So when he brings it up here for us to see, there's the lines he's created. So they won't appear the same as what we did or tried to do with the twisted frit in the flask. All right, so now he's got his twist in there. He'll manipulate this glass a little more, get it all shaped up like he wants, and into the optic mold. He's going to do a little more twisting on it. And this will also suck some of the heat out of it. So before he blows in an optic mold, he's going to have to reheat. He may reshape. You blowing in the mold, Foster?
I am, yes.
Okay. So just as he did with the piece earlier, using these two colors, he's going to blow in the optic mold to put some ridges in it. He's using the jacks at the very end. That little button that he's cutting is actually he's squeezing against it, and that's twisting the frit at the very end of the piece. And he'll use his shears to hold it, cull it off there, and get rid of that. So when we do twist the frit, whether you're doing it like this or the way I did it over after the optic mold on the Marver, the very tip of the piece does not always twist up. So that's why we grab the end of it with a tool and twist against that tool, just so that we have the curves going all the way through the piece. He'll get this plenty hot, get it shaped as he wants, and then it'll be into the optic mold for the ridges. Remember to like, share, and comment. Like, just because we have our Sally Fields moments, or we want everybody to like us. And share, because that helps us with the viewership. But above all else, comment, because the comments are what will get you entered into the free drawing for a piece. Foster's using the cherry wood block again. It's simply a cup on a handle. Chills the glass, shapes it, and now he blows, traps the air in the blowing iron, and he pointed the iron up. So as he said earlier, when he was explaining a piece to you, if you point it up in the air, the glass falls back on itself, the bubble expands closer to the tip and keeps the side walls nice and even. So he's just about ready, I believe, to go into the optic mold, unless he's got any final shaping to do.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and shape it before I go in.
Okay. So we try to get the gather of glass to conform to the shape of the optic mold we're going into, so that it doesn't get stopped before reaching the bottom. So what the heck do you mean by that, Bruce? Well, I'll be glad to explain it. Let's watch Foster Marver the end of this piece. Are you going in the tall mold?
No, I'm
Over
just
there.
going in the short
Okay.
point.
Okay, so the shorter mold that he's using over here is pretty wide open. But I'm going to show you why we have to sometimes taper the piece. Imagine you were going down into this one that tapers dramatically toward the bottom. If the glass were too wide going in, it would be held up about halfway up the piece, and the glass would try to fall toward the bottom, thin out too much, and it might not even get ridges in it. So we want to get pretty close to the shape and size of the mold we're in. And look what he's got there. He's got the shape, he's got a size. By pressing just a little bit and blowing, he gets the ridges fully into the sides of the piece, and just exactly what he wants. Had he left that piece too wide, if he had that gather, or parazon as we call it, too wide, it would have not have gone down all the way in the mold. And you probably saw, or we'll show you when he comes out, the ridges go all the way to the bottom of the piece. So we'll take a look at that while he gets set with the hand tools. So you can see the ridges run the full length of the piece. That's because the glass fit fully into the mold. All right, he's cut the jack line. Using the two blades of the jacks, makes a constriction, and now he'll blow it out. And he's free blowing. He's not trapping the air. He's just getting the spherical shape made. If we've set it once, we've set it 1,432 times. Most of our pieces start out is a sphere with a jack line in it. Then we alter the shape. So when he wants to make a bowl, he's not going to alter the shape by lengthening it, okay? He's going to keep the piece short, but he may even collapse it a little bit. We'll see. But the idea of a bowl, my simple definition, a piece that is wider than it is tall. Now he's going to blow that out some. He chilled the bottom so that it didn't blow out excessively. And notice he's still got pretty much a spherical shape there, except for the slope on the neckline. And he does need that slope to aid in the blowout. Now notice he's just free blowing now. He's not capping. He can alter the pressure as he's in process then. Using the back of the jacks to flatten the bottom of the piece. Okay, so now he's going to hand it over to Patrick for the flashing. For those of you that joined us late, as I said, we sent the children home today. It's just the, oh heck, what was the phrase that Scott used? I won't call us geezers. The well-seasoned. The well-seasoned contingent is here. And we've got Patrick Foley helping us today. Patrick is flashing the piece, and he's going to hold it at the bench while Foster comes and makes the putty and attaches to the bottom of the piece. Foster gets a little bit of glass off the end of the blowing iron, and that's the glue bit that will stick to the bottom of the piece. Patrick keeps it turning for him. Foster will use the file and attach this to the bottom. Now it's kind of interesting. It's nice to have the piece turning while you spot the center. And the reason is, if you're looking at the bottom of the piece, the center point is going to appear to stand still. The rest of it will rotate. Now, it can really make you dizzy if you've got a spiral on the bottom of it, but the center point always appears to stand still. And that's why Foster likes to have the piece turning when he comes to place the putty. He's made the lower 2/3 of the piece now, and now he's going to heat the upper reaches so he can open it. Oh, I like that.
I'll open this up, use the steam cone, and we'll go ahead and do a handkerchief drop.
Oh, okay, very good, very good. But I have to tell you about David Hogan's latest comment. When I refer to us as well-seasoned,
Yes.
he calls us the spice guys. Pretty good. Okay, so Foster is now heating the upper part of this vessel. He's going to inflate it using a steam cone. We've explained that, but what the heck, we'll do it again. A wet wooden cone goes into the opening of the vessel, and the heat encounters the water, and the steam blows it out. Now, he'll probably have to round the mouth out a little bit and work on that just for a couple seconds with the jacks. He may need more heat before he blows it out. He's going to open that up a little bit, but then into that opening, after the next heat, we'll go to steam cone. So pay attention to that slope you see right now. That slope is what's going to inflate from the steam. There's the steam cone. Yeah, you're not hot enough.
No,
I mean,
I'm not.
you're a really hot guy, but that steam cone's not going to work.
You mean I'm not full of hot air?
Not enough. Not enough. I would imagine you'd have to be in excess of about 13 or 1400 degrees. All right, so when Foster comes back, that sloped area that we spoke about a minute ago will be hotter than the bottom half of the vessel. When he puts the cone into the opening, watch that area expand. He's chilling the lip so it doesn't fold in, and now he'll push the cone in and watch that sloped shoulder. There's the expansion coming out. It's opening up. And now it almost looks like the pumpkin we made a couple weeks ago with the top pushing in just a little bit. Okay. All right. So he's going to open this up gradually. He'll probably take a heat or two. And then the technique that he's going to use to finish this vessel off is, we call it a handkerchief drop. And the Italian term for it is fazzoletto, which basically means a handkerchief drop. So if you can imagine a table napkin or a handkerchief that's held by the center and then dropped onto a tabletop, it'll have a set of random ruffles in it. Foster's going to heat this and open it up a good bit. Then he's going to heat it a lot, spin it out, and then point it downward and let it ruffle on its own. We don't have a lot of choice about how many folds we get in it there, but we want it hot enough to get us plenty. So now, making sure that it's perpendicular to the pipe, he's going to open this lip quite a bit. He may bring this out to the point that it looks straight-sided almost. He might take another heat for that. Before he does the drop, the handkerchief drop, he will probably use the wet newspaper to cool the lower portion of the vessel, then put it in there and get it screaming hot so he can flare it out and drop it. And by dropping it, I just mean point it toward the floor, not literally onto the floor. So he's getting enough heat in there that he can bring that out more straight-sided and have a very wide opening on this. And if the glass appears to fold a little bit or get out of shape, it's not important because the tools on the hot glass will round it back out. There, that's what we were talking about, a practically straight-sided top. Now the newspaper to cool the middle of it. It's a beautiful bowl as is, but you're really going to enjoy this. So he'll put the whole thing into the heat just to flash it. Then he's going to really take his time building a lot of heat into that cranberry pink section. And then at one point he will increase the rotational speed so that it begins to flare out. When he exits the glory hole, that'll almost look like a top hat. The opening will be almost like the brim of a top hat. And then he'll point it downward and snap it, and he'll give it a jerk, and that's what will cause the handkerchief drop. He's down, and he just keeps turning like that. He gets a nice elegant pattern on the drop, and there we go. Beautiful. And there you go. See those colors wonderfully? If you'd love that piece, get in touch with us. It's for sale. All righty. Let's hear it for Foster. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, so he'll take another flash on that and then come back to knock it free.
And that finishes the live stream for today. We thank you for being with us for the hottest live stream around on Tuesday mornings anyways from the Mid-Atlantic. And if you have additional questions or you have comments, please post them to us and we'll get back to you. We appreciate you watching. Thank you and have a great one.
All right. Thank you, Foster. All right. We'll see you all next week.